I'm just a really lucky guy. Not that lucky that I got cancer, but really lucky how our family and my support team has responded to it. And I just, I had a scan a couple weeks ago, and they told me that I got some issues and I got to do some things, but come back in May. And so there's another 5 months that I'm going to try and have a good time. Hopefully BYU wins a national championship in that period, because I don't want to go until I see that happen. That's what I'm looking for. At least get to the Final Four, boys.
Fredette for the lead. Yes! Fredette with the three. Bullseye! What a shot by Fredette!
Crunch time. The boy gave us more trays than
He's got his J back, folks, and the eye of the tiger.
This is From the Logo with Jimmer Fredette.
Guess who's back? I am Spencer Linton. He is Jimmer Fredette, and this is From the Logo. Great to have all of you with us for our deep range conversations about life inside and well beyond the world of sports. Jimmer, apparently we're making some dreams come true with this very podcast, at least for our friend and comedian Dustin Anderson, because he has a new peak professional moment, apparently. Messaged us last week and said he got Tiffany Amber Thiessen, the great actress, to comment on one of his posts. He says he's going for a follow. Don't know if she followed him, but she has commented on one of his posts. And of course, if you don't know who Tiffany Amber Thiessen is, just Google Saved by the Bell and Kelly Kapowski, because she is a legit actress, and he had to let us know. But it's about time we had some payoff from this podcast.
We are making dreams come true here, Spence. It is incredible. Dustin, you're welcome. We made your life. We understand that, and we are pumped. Yeah, we're just making dreams over here on From the Logo podcast. It's so fun. I guess next is Jennifer Aniston actually has to, say, give him a like, maybe a follow. If we could do that, we'd legitimately make his life. I think he would be like, all right, we're good. We're good to go. I can go at any time.
Because she does follow him, yeah? Or was it just, did she
Maybe she does
at one point? I think she
comment.
does follow him.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe she hasn't commented yet.
Yeah, we need the comment. We need the comment.
We need to push harder for that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so he got the like from Tiffany Amber Thiessen. He's got the follow from Jennifer Aniston.
Jeez.
Now we just need a little bit more from both of them. We're throwing it into the ethos. Let's make this happen.
Let's go. Yeah, that's big time stuff. I need a follow now. Like, how about that? Let's
need a follow. Okay.
Let's start there.
Fair enough. Well, not only are we trying to push social media platforms for all of our guests, our purpose in this podcast is always to uplift, educate, and entertain with an array of topics, often centered on the most impactful moments, experiences, and decisions that have shaped the lives of Jimmer, me, and our guest. Most recently, our VIP guest was fantastic, ESPN college basketball analyst, insider, and just one of the great basketball minds when it comes to articulating the sport on TV. He is Sean Farnham. I thought he was a fantastic conversation, Jimmer.
Yeah, he's so well spoken. Obviously, he's on TV all the time, right? So that's goes without saying. But his stories were incredible. I mean, 34 scholarship offers in one night is just, it's so fun, to think back on that. And that's before Instagram and Twitter, before he could put things out on the internet. It was all the coaches saw him just crush it in one night, and they're like, I want that guy. And he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm just going to go to UCLA instead. And he was just fun to talk to. But he talks about a lot of other things besides just basketball, about life and life lessons in general that he's learned about. He's a faithful guy. So just an all-around great conversation with Sean. And we're going to have him on again because that was a lot of fun.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I loved that his parents said, whatever you do, you have all of these other scholarship offers. Just don't immediately commit to UCLA. Just don't commit. So what does he do? Coach Herrick, I'm in. I'm a Bruin. But how he got his scholarship and the story behind that, really, really good stuff from Sean Farnham. If you missed that conversation or any of our previous 20 guests, well, good news. They're all available on demand on our YouTube channel, all of our short videos as well. You can follow us on any of the major social media platforms, X, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, at JimmerFTL. All right, I think we are ready for the opening tip-off. And here is our starting lineup today. Guess what? College football is changing by the day, and most recently, thanks to a boom from Bloomington, Indiana, the Hoosiers are officially a football school. We'll get into what that means for other hopeful programs that have been on the outside looking in at the elite tier of the sport. Jimmer's college basketball coach, the amazing Dave Rose, joins the pod to preview the Jimmer jersey retirement and give us an update on what's going on in his life. And just maybe he'll tell us about some things that we may have never heard when it comes to Jimmer and his persona as a college basketball player.
Man, I'm so happy to have Coach Rose on. It was one of those things that was like, I know I want to get Coach Rose on. When do I want to do it? And it was a great timing, obviously, before the jersey ceremony to be able to have him on and just reminisce, talk about, my time at BYU, his time at BYU, how he got to BYU, his story in general, just with his health. He's a fighter. He is an absolute fighter. And that's one thing that I learned about him is the competitiveness, the drive, the fight, to be able to go out there and not just do it in basketball, but do it in life. And I'm super excited to talk with Coach today.
A member of Phi Slama Jama, played at Houston. I mean, the guy has been around the sport forever. He's still very dialed in to what you're doing, Jimmer. He told me the other day when I saw him at a basketball game, he's like, I can't get away from you guys. You're on my phone, you're on my computers, you're on my TVs, you're everywhere. Like, I can't get away. And now he's joining the podcast. So literally, he can't escape. We've got the Open Gym coming up featuring your comments and questions, including a comment from our friends at Pop-Tarts. Oh, yes. The official Pop-Tarts account has dialed in. By the way, any word on NCAA violations when it comes to Jamal Williams and receiving a Pop-Tart gift from a fellow student?
I haven't heard anything yet, but, it's still out there. I mean, it's out there everywhere. Pop-Tarts, they're going to make it worse by commenting, and just making it even bigger than it needs to be. But I don't know. Jamal may get something at some point. Sorry about that, Jamal. If you get something, the pod will take care of it. Don't worry.
We had a few of you notably say, Jimmer, shut up. You're going to get us in
Literally.
trouble.
They're like, actually, this is not a joke. You actually should not be talking about this right now. I'm like, it's like, goodness gracious, man. I thought players are making millions of dollars now. Are we good? Like, we're not good? Talk about this anymore?
Can we let the $1.50 Pop-Tart bundle in the vending machine slide?
Yeah,
Are we not there yet?
Yeah,
Maybe
no, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
On that note, it's time for the early tray. 3 top-of-mind subjects to set the pace and get the conversation rolling. Jimmer, are you ready to shoot?
Let's get it.
Let's get into Bloomington, Indiana. Hoosiers win the national championship, completing arguably the greatest story ever told in the sport. It is that good, that unprecedented. I still can't get over the screenshots that are coming from Indiana fans in early 2024, at least the early part of the college football season, with an empty stadium in Bloomington. Game number 1 of the Kurt Signetti era. And now look at what they have done in 2 years. It is ridiculous. But they punctuated it with a national championship win over Miami. And now it has everybody saying, well, maybe my favorite team could pull in Indiana and be with the elites of Ohio State and Michigan and Alabama. It just has everybody's wheels spinning, Jimmer. What do you think this means for the future of college football with what Indiana has put together and the lightning in a bottle that they caught, and how it will impact blue blood teams and non-blue blood college football teams?
Yeah. Everyone has a chance, right? Because of the NIL era. That's the reality of the situation, whether you're in basketball, football, or any other sport. If you can get players to come to your school and you have a good collective and you have some really good opportunity with funds from boosters, from the revenue share, all of the things, you can have an opportunity to create a great team. Now, that being said, there's not a ton of Coach Signetti's out there. That guy is a beast. he knows what he is doing. He knows how to run a football program. He knows how to get the best out of his football players because they didn't have the most expensive roster, and they also didn't have the most 5-star players, right? These guys were kind of guys that may have been overlooked in the past.
I believe 13 of them were with him at James Madison when he came over to Indiana.
Exactly. I'm like, these are not your typical top tier talent players that are winning these championships. So this, obviously Mendoza is incredible. That guy is a gamer. It was his arms after the game. Did you see that picture with
The
his
bruises
on his arms and the stuff that he went through in that game, the physicality, and he didn't care. He loved it. Like that's not always normal. So they had an amazing quarterback that was a leader, that guys wanted to run through a wall for, and they just had a perfect mix. But at the same time, it's Indiana. This is not a blue blood program. That's a blue blood basketball program. So to be able to have a team like that, be able to win a national championship and turn their program around in 2 years gives everyone hope. And I think that's good for football. That's good for college football. It's good for the fan bases. It can also be a double-edged sword. It'll also be terrible because if you have those expensive rosters and you're not winning, they turn on those coaches and they turn on those players very, very quickly.
Yes.
And, so it's a double-edged sword, but it gives everyone hope because if you have the right amount of, of money, the right coaching staff, all the things, you can turn around real quick.
Indiana goes 16-0, and they are strangely the last college football team to go undefeated and win a national championship, and last college football team to go undefeated and win a national championship, last college basketball program to go undefeated and win a national championship in 1976. Cool. It's Indiana on both sides of that undefeated champion conversation. The football team had won 3 bowl games all time in the history of Indiana football. Before this year, they had won 3 bowl games. They've been playing football forever. They won 3 bowl games in this season alone, en route to 16 victories. So just unbelievable stuff that the Hoosiers have put together. What does it mean for the future of college football? I don't know, but it does give a blueprint of sorts to every team, especially Power 4 teams that are struggling, to say, okay, can we replicate what Indiana did? Can we go find experienced players in the portal, get the right coach, create some momentum with some wins, and then reactivate NIL and boosters and our big money boosters and start to put together something special? Give you a couple of examples, and that it's because the fans of these teams have been in my mentions over the past 3 days. I put out my way too early Big 12 football power rankings for 2026, knowing that
I saw that.
Some people are going to engage, okay? Notably, it's been Oklahoma State and the Buffaloes in your home state of Colorado. Those two fan bases are like, how dare you? You're an idiot. You know nothing. Oklahoma State just hired the head coach from North Texas. They won 12 games, and Eric Boris is bringing a bunch of players with them from North Texas, and they've got oil money, and they're re-engaged, and they're going to be the next Indiana. Hey, Colorado saying the same thing. How dare you doubt Deion Sanders' coach prime? He's bringing in dogs all over the place. They're going to rebuild again, and you wait. The big money's going to flow once Colorado starts winning some games again. Programs like that, Jimmer, feel like they can win a national championship. And even as bad as they were, those are the worst 2 teams in the Big 12 last season. They feel like the change can happen now and that they can all pull a Kurt Signetti. But here's the thing. I loved your point. You got to find a Kurt Signetti. You have to find the right coach and the perfect fit for your program to even have a chance to do something close to what Indiana just pulled off.
That's exactly right. And there's not many out there. That's just this simple fact, right? Like everyone wants to be the OKC Thunder. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Sam Presti? That's great. I could find a Sam Presti. No, you can't. That's why he's Sam Presti. That's why he's able to hit on all of these draft picks. These other teams have tried to do that, just have not been successful. So it's not the fact, it's a perfect storm. You got to have the right quarterback. You have to have the right coach. But at the same time, people do have hope because they've seen it done now. And in 2 years, it can happen. So there is a platform out there. It's hard to do, but people can do it, and that's why they're going to have hope.
So before we move on to our next topic, we have to talk a little bit more about Fernando Mendoza and his bruised up arms, and I'm sure his bruised ribs and back after taking a shot at the goal line. But he had another Heisman moment on that touchdown run. Just fourth down, everything's on the line, spectacular moment, electrifying moment with more than 30 million people watching on TV. And it got me thinking, okay, Jimmer, you were the National Player of the Year. You essentially won the Heisman Trophy for college basketball in 2011. What was your Heisman moment that senior season? Or maybe it was a few moments.
Yeah. No, it's tough because I didn't have like a game-winning shot or something like that where all of a sudden you're like, oh, that is your, player of the year moment. It was kind of a collection of games where it was just consistently good and consistently able to play well. And there were moments within games where I felt like it was bigger than others. Two that I'll give out to you. One of them was San Diego State at our place. I remember, I hit a big three in the first half, did a crossover, pull back, hit a three, and the place was going absolutely berserk. And I stood there and I looked at the crowd and I just screamed at the top of my lungs as loud as I possibly could at the crowd. And I knew at that point, like, okay, things are going well right now. This is life-changing. I'm ready. We're here, and this is going great. So that was one moment.
That was on Billy. Remind me his name. Billy
White.
Yes, Billy White.
Billy White. 6'8", long, athletic, 360 windmilling in the warm-ups. Like he was guarding. You know what I mean? Like they're always like, yeah, we'll put you, Billy White, and Kawhi on you. That's not a problem. So that was one. The second one, I would say, was against Gonzaga. When I was able to hit that shot, and it kind of showed up afterwards when it was on the Sports Illustrated cover. When I was able to hit that shot right next to the sideline, and someone took that picture of the Sports Illustrated cover on their phone. They got it on their phone, and it was not a good picture because back then phone cameras were not good. They got it, and then Sports Illustrated found that person and actually was able to get the footage from that person and then put it on the magazine. And looking back on it, like that's a really cool moment because we were able to go on and win that game and get into the Sweet 16, something that BYU hadn't done for over 30 years. And that was a big shot in the game. And so those two definitely stick out to me. And to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated with that shot is pretty good. It looks like I jump a lot higher than I actually do. It looks like I have like a 55-inch vertical, and that's not the case. But it was great.
Wait, you don't?
Not anymore. Not anymore. That's for sure.
I'll add the half-court shot or the almost half-court shot at Utah as well. It's just another spectacular moment for you, brother. That was outstanding.
Good times, man.
Okay, Jimmer, topic number 2 is our NFL playoffs update. Because, we need to do this on a weekly basis as we push through. Just to recap, who still has somebody alive and who doesn't. So, Jimmer, what the heck happened to the Buffalo Bills? And why did they fire their coach?
Man, I feel bad for Sean McDermott. I mean, gosh, man, what all of my teams should have won games. Okay, let's just start there. Okay,
the margin of error is so thin.
It is so thin. It's not like they're bad picks. Let's just put it that way. They're 50-50 games. Josh Allen, they were up in the fourth quarter. It was like there was like 2 minutes and 47 seconds left. It was 27-23. They're up by 4 points. It was 3rd and 11.
Brutal.
And they let them get like a 27-yard gain. And that was the game right there. If they just close that out and make that stop on 3rd and 11, probably win that football game. And it's heartbreaking for the Bills fans. I was pulling for him. I was pulling for Josh Allen. You saw how emotional he was after the game. Just absolutely devastating. And, but that's sports right there. Sports in a nutshell. It's not easy to win championships. And some of the greats haven't won. right? Like it is the way that it is. I hope he does win one. And I think obviously he still can. He's still young. He's still in his prime. But it did not happen this time. And my pick is out. But you still have one left. You still have one left.
One hope.
One is all you need, Spence. The Rams are still there.
Yes, weekly disclaimer. These games have not taken place yet while we're recording this.
Yep.
Hopefully the Rams are still in it.
I hope
and
so.
can get to a Super Bowl against either the Broncos or the Patriots. We shall see. But when you have Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford involved, and Sean McVay, for that matter, who, by the way, he in games that are decided by 3 points or less, okay?
Yep.
He's 6-1, I believe. Maybe that's just a playoff stat, but the point is, I got to go back and confirm this. He is a winner in close games, and I would anticipate that the game with the Seahawks is going to be close, but give me the Rams. Hopefully we're talking about the Rams in the Super Bowl, and we got one of the teams we picked playing in that final game.
Yeah, I hope it for you, Spence. I hope it for you.
Let's go. By the way, Phillip Rivers interviewing for the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Yeah.
It's wild. Went from off the field to on the field to coaching in like 3 hours. It's impressive.
It happens. It happens fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Topic number 3. Because we just spoke with Sean Farnham, our guy, the ESPN college basketball insider and analyst. He recently tried swig for the first time. And this is a growing trend across the country. Like all of these dirty soda shops are opening up, and it is like the genesis of it is in the state of Utah, but it's branched out. And so now we're starting to see like these soda shops spring up all over the country. Well, there's only one swig, and it's originating in Utah. He tried it for the first time, said that it was better than he expected. But one, are you a dirty soda guy, Jimmer? And if you are, what is your go-to drink?
We are massive swig fans, right? We love it. My wife is obsessed with it. We don't have them in Colorado. At some point, they will be in Colorado. They're not here yet, so we have to go to Utah to get them. They're in every other state around Utah, except for Colorado for some reason. So we got to, talk about that. We have a Twisted Sugar out here, so that's where we go to. And we love the dirty sodas. I am generally a Coke Zero guy. I love Coke Zero.
Okay.
Throw in vanilla, throw in some cherry, whatever it is. It is, I'm very classic as far as that's concerned. No calories, and then you throw a bunch of calories in when you put the syrups in them. Of course, they're amazing stuff. My wife goes with Diet Coke with some lime and fresh lime, not the fresh lime, and then cranberry. That's what she gets every single time.
Okay.
My son does the Shark Attack or whatever it is that gets the shark gummy on top. Me, I have recently discovered this one, and it is absolutely fire. I cannot tell you. Life's a Peach.
Ooh.
If you haven't tried that one yet, please do.
Okay.
Dr. Pepper, vanilla, peach, half and half. Okay. Calorie bomb. Absolute calorie bomb. Don't care. If I'm going to swig once a month, once every other month, whatever it is, I am getting Life's a Peach from now on because it is absolutely incredible. So there you go.
Okay, I will take you up on that recommendation. I will report back and let you know what I think of it. My typical go-to is the Raspberry Dream with Dr. Pepper Zero.
There you go.
Trying to watch the calories a little bit. Not as good or sweet, certainly, with the zero sugar, but
I agree.
I probably go more than once every other month. Like you're going once every other month, you can afford the calorie bomb.
Exactly.
I'm going a little more often than that, so I probably need the Dr. Pepper Zero sugar.
3 times a day isn't good for you, Spence. All right, come on.
Now, it's probably more like 2 or 3 times a month, but still, hey, we're trying to limit it. Okay, that takes care of the early tray, and from the logo, no less. Life, what is it? Life's a Peach? Is that
Life's
what it's
a
called?
Peach. Life's a Peach. It
Indeed
is.
it is. Indeed it is. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Jimmer's beloved head coach at BYU, the great Dave Rose, takes on the full court press. He reminisces on some of Jimmer's greatest moments, recruiting Jimmer, some insider stories that you've never been told before, and he gives us an update on his battle with cancer and his health. You don't want to miss it when From the Logo with Jimmer Fredette continues.
If you or your business are looking to reach a wide audience, From the Logo with Jimmer Fredette will help you reach your goals. Whether you're interested in title sponsorship, segment sponsorship, or product placement on the podcast, email us at jimmerftl@gmail.com and let us help you shoot your shot.
Welcome back to From the Logo with Jimmer Fredette. It is time for the Full Court Press. Today's VIP guest is none other than Jimmer's college coach, a member of Phi Slama Jama, one of the greatest to ever do it as a player in college and as a coach in college. Dave Rose is on the program. Coach Rose, welcome to From the Logo. How you doing?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah, thank you.
It's great to have you, Coach. He's absolutely the GOAT, right? Right, Spence? I mean, just the best there is in both coaching and in life in general. We love having you on, Coach. We appreciate you. And you just made it down from St. George, right? You're just
Yeah.
driving up the Provo from St. George. How'd
Yeah.
that trip go?
I'm up here for the games. It was good. It was good. But you can't give me all the praise when you're sitting there behind you with the Naismith Trophy right behind you. I know a lot. I know a lot of people, and I've run across a whole bunch of people in my day. But I think I only know one guy with the Naismith Trophy in his office. That would be that
Man,
would be Zimmer. Yeah.
well, it was a lot because you let me shoot a lot, Coach. Like that was the biggest thing. You got to let me shoot a lot. So
Because your
that's
teammates, your teammates loved you
that's
shooting.
true. That's true.
Coach, when you found out that the Naismith Player of the Year in 2011 and a guy that you understandably grew very close with was going to have his number 32 jersey retired, what emotions ran through your mind?
Well, to tell you the honest truth, I was very excited, but I've kind of wondered, like a lot of things at BYU. Why we're waiting in the 2026. It's been a while. His career at BYU is unmatched, and very, very deserving for him to have the number retired. And I'm just really excited that Cheryl and I are still around, and we'll be able to see it happen. Be able to be there.
Yeah, we're excited to have you there, Coach. Like obviously it's awesome. And yeah, they have the 15-year rule, I guess. And before they were telling me that it was 10 years, and they told me like a while back, and they're like, oh, actually that's not the case. You can't actually get your jersey retired now. So I had to wait another 5 years, and I was like, maybe you'll forget about me at that point. I don't know if it's still gonna happen. And now that's gonna happen. I'm super excited to be able to share that with you and Cheryl and everybody and all the BYU Nation. Coach, I want to take it back a little bit to your playing days. How did you end up getting to Houston in the first place from high school? And then what was that experience like playing with the Five Slama Jama?
Well, there's a story in itself. Just getting to Houston, I ended up. I played my high school basketball in Houston, and I tried to get anybody to recruit me out of high school, and finally, I ended up in St. George, Utah, at Dixie College, and so I played junior college for a year. Then after my freshman year, I decided to go on a mission, and I served a mission in Manchester, England, in the England Manchester mission, and then went back to Dixie and played there at Dixie, and then ended up after that spring was the real spring that kind of changed my life. My mission obviously changed my life a lot, but that spring, because I had a great year in baseball. I played baseball at Dixie, and I had a couple scholarship offers and opportunities to go play baseball. And I just didn't like baseball as much as I like basketball. I might have actually been a better baseball player than I was a basketball player. But anyways, long story short, I ended up getting an offer from Guy Lewis to go play at the University of Houston. And Cheryl and I just got married. And so we packed up my little car, and everything we owned in a little 5x8 U-Haul. That was pretty cool back then. And drove off to Houston, and I spent 3 years at Houston, and that's happened to be the same time they signed, Clyde Drexler and Michael Young. Larry Mishaw was there. We had a guy named Rob Williams who was terrific, drafted by the Nuggets. But the best thing was my junior year is that's when Hakeem Olajuwon came on a recruiting visit, and we got him to commit, and that's when the University of Houston's basketball program really took off for a couple 2 or 3 years, and I ended up playing in the Final Four, playing for the national championship my senior year. We didn't win, and I didn't realize that that was going to be kind of foreshadowing to the rest of my life. It seemed like I finished second a lot, all the way through my coaching career and through my basketball experience. But it was a great experience with a lot of really fun memories with a lot of guys.
Coach, you mentioned you pushed pause on your basketball career to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in England. And you just said it impacted your life in a major way. How did that decision to do something that's tough when you are a high-level athlete and you opt to go and do something that is just your choice? So how did that decision impact your life the most?
Well, when I think about it and try to figure out how I got from Houston, Texas to St. George, Utah, I'm playing my freshman year. I remember I made a deal. I was a deal maker in all my prayers, and I said, if I could do this, then I will do this, or if this happens, then this would be good for me. And I didn't know if I should go. I kind of felt like that's what everybody wanted me to do, but I said, okay, if I'm a good player, and let's say I'm first team all league, then I won't go because you want me to stay and be a basketball player. And anyways, I ended up being first team all league, and I went on a mission. So that's how that worked.
That's so funny. That's great. And yeah, it's not easy to do, right? Like I tell people all the time to leave for 2 years and to go serve the Lord is an incredible thing to be able to do. And it's not easy. And you come back a different person, different player, in different shape, all those different things. And then obviously you met Cheryl and you were able to get married to an amazing woman who I know super well. And how has that relationship really helped you throughout your life and through your career? Because I know she's been there through all of it, and there's been a lot of ups and downs. But how has that relationship really helped you?
Well, we just in past June, we just celebrated our 45th wedding anniversary, and so she's been around. She's been around a long time, and we've been together. Uh, we've been together way more than longer than we've been apart, actually. And so we're really fortunate because, especially now, my career, my playing career, my coaching career, and raising our kids, all that was amazing, a great experience together. But and the time we have now, I mean, I've been retired for 6 or so years, 7 years, and we thought our retirement would be a lot different, but the health issues have caused things. But we're really having, you know, it's a really enjoyable time together now, visiting our kids and enjoying our grandkids and their athletic, achievements. And like we were just talking on the drive on the way up, that um, last night we went and watched one of our grandsons play a little city league game. Then we went to the Dixie High School gym and watched my son Garrett coach his Hurricane High School girls team. And we're driving up here, and tonight I'm going to watch uh, my granddaughter Annie, our oldest granddaughter. She's in a swim meet at BYU with her husband Peyton, and then tomorrow that swim meet. So we spend a lot of time getting a chance to watch our 8 grandkids do what they love to do. So it, I would have never thought this when I was 40 years old that this would kind of be what my life would be, but it's really kind of fun. Not too bad.
Coach, I want to bring up something that I remember vividly, and it deals with you and specifically your wife, Cheryl. And we'll get into your path to BYU and coaching at BYU in just a moment. But in your first season in 2005, I was a young and aspiring broadcaster and sports reporter, still a student at BYU, but I had followed your team to the Pepsi Center in Denver for the Mountain West Conference tournament. And BYU was the 3 seed, had a matchup with the 6 seed Utah. You lose a tough game, but I remember how loud and upset Cheryl was at the officiating in that game. And I appreciated her passion so much. I thought, man, if I was ever a coach, that's how I'd want my wife to be. So shout out to Cheryl. But for those that don't know how much she cared and how she navigated things as your wife through intense coaching matters, what was that like to have her by your side, giving the officials the business, no less?
Well, hey, I can promise you this: they deserved every bit of it. That's the truth. But and you know what's actually funny? Last night. We were at a my grandson's game, and she was giving the refs the business again last night. So she still got it. She can still lay her out there pretty good. But I mean, you talk about a great, just a great support for me personally, as in my career as a high school coach and as a junior college coach, and the time I spent on the road recruiting players and you know, coaching games and just I mean I can't remember, a time when, it was bad. I mean, it was always good. The only thing that was bad is if we lost the game, okay? Because the one thing she did really well is she could keep score, and she knew if we were on the front end or on the back end of the score. And luckily, throughout my career, we won a lot more games than we lost, and a lot of that was because of Jimmer. Those 4 years with Jimmer were probably the best 4 years of my coaching career as far as won and lost record. He had a big impact on our ability to win games. That's for sure.
Jimmer, if you want to follow up on that, I mean, you experienced Dave and Cheryl together, obviously in a more close proximity than most. But what are some of the vivid memories you have of first being introduced to Coach and Cheryl Rose?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember, having Coach and Cheryl at, Cheryl was at everything, right? She was so supportive. She was always around and making sure that she made us feel comfortable. And one of the things that I loved about Cheryl was that she she always made the girlfriends and the wives feel comfortable, right? Because at BYU, there were several of my teammates that were married at that time. And Cheryl did such a good job of welcoming them, making it a very family oriented team. And I thought that that really helped us on the court because of the fact like everyone was so close. The wives were so close. The players, they'd hang out together. They were close. And because of that family atmosphere, you could tell when we got on the court that we actually liked each other. We knew stuff about each other. We wanted each other to succeed. And that's, I think that's a testament of why we had such good chemistry. We had such good roles. Everyone knew what they were supposed to do and they were good with it because they knew the guy on their side was going to go to bat for them. And a lot of that was just that family cultivation that Coach Rose, his coaching staff, and Cheryl and all the other coaches' wives, they cultivated that culture. So it was super important to us, and they did an incredible job of that. And then obviously, yes, as you said, they would definitely be feisty. And I would look up at the stands, and I'd look at the wives all standing up and yelling at someone or yelling at the refs, and it'd get me excited, right? I'd be like, all right, let's go. Like if they're getting after that, let's go get after this as well. So just fond memories, obviously, of them and that time and how they went about the situation, which was incredible. And Coach, I wanted to follow up there with how did you end up, getting to BYU as a coach, right? I know that after you were done, playing, you decided to get into coaching. Tell me a little bit about that journey of how you made it to BYU.
Yeah, well, we played for the national championship in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the pit. We ended up getting beat. And that I knew I wanted to be a coach after that, and I had a couple interviews set up for kind of like high school um, uh, JV jobs or whatever. Well, Lee Benson wrote an article in Deseret News in Salt Lake about my whole journey, and I had a couple Utah schools that got involved, Utah high schools, and so I was offered an opportunity to stay at the University of Houston with Coach Lewis and be a graduate assistant. But I'd been married 3 years. We had a baby, our first daughter, Chanel, and yeah, I just kind of felt like I needed to go get a real job, and actually get a paycheck. It wasn't much of a paycheck, but it actually had my name on it with some numbers, and so we could figure out how we got started. So, anyways, I ended up taking the Millard High School job in Fillmore, where my mother was from. My mother's from Millard County, and so that's where I started my career. And the reason I took that high school job was because I wanted to find out if I really wanted to coach. And sometimes, you're an assistant coach for a guy and you still don't know, and you spend 6 or 7 years helping somebody, and then you get the head job and you don't really like it. And I've talked to a lot of guys who were in the coaching business, and so that was my my path was going to be, I want to get in it. I want to be in charge. I want to do it as soon as possible and just see how I feel and see what it feels like to me to do it. And our first year, we weren't very good, but we made the state tournament. But I knew that I loved it, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I ended up a couple years later moving to St. George. I got a job at Pineview High School for a year, then got an assistant's job at Dixie College, which is now Utah Tech University. But so I was an assistant coach there for about 8 or 9 years, then got the head job and was the head coach at Dixie. But the way I got to BYU was even longer story than what I just told. I mean, it it happened. Coach Cleveland called me when he got the BYU job and wanted to know kind of the lay of the land as far as our league was concerned, in the ICAC and Region 18, and all the good players and who I thought maybe could play for him. And, and he had some questions about some guys he wanted to hire, and I knew them. And so I gave recommendations to him for some guys. And then about a week later, he called me again on the phone, and he was lost out in the middle of Kansas because he was at the junior college national tournament, and he he said he was flying back to Utah and wanted me to fly to Salt Lake and meet him there because he wanted to talk to me about being one of his assistant coaches. And I told him, dude, you just won one game and we just won 30. And so I think I'm going to stay right here. I think I'll be fine. But anyways, long story, I ended up, after about 2 or 3 weeks, he convinced Cheryl and I that that's where we're supposed to be. And so we came to BYU, and I was Steve's assistant for 8 years. And I learned so much. And for me, my path to being the head coach at BYU was perfect for me because I got a chance to go and work for Steve and to watch Steve and to be with him and to learn so much about BYU and about, leadership and teamwork and those things that Steve was so good at as a coach. And then, he decided to go back to his alma mater and coach at Fresno State. And President Samuelson ended up offering me the job at BYU. And I guess the rest is history, huh? Everybody got 14 years of me in Provo. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Every minute of it. Yeah, every minute. I know one person who didn't love every minute of it. She loved a lot of it, but she didn't love every minute of it. And that was Jimmer's mom. I've become great friends with Al and Kay, and they're tremendous. But my brother-in-law was sitting next to them at a game in Orleans when we played North Carolina, and I I didn't play Jimmer a lot in that game. And after the game, she let me have it, uh, and he was in earshot of it, and so he ended up telling me. But it's a good thing that it all worked out because she's my best friend now. And but it just goes to show you there's up and downs in everything we do. Isn't that right, Jimmer?
That's exactly right, and I absolutely remember that game and remember it, and I remember how I used to come. I remembered how I used to come into practice after that game too. I was a little irked as well, as we all know. Oh, that's great.
Coach, yeah, we referenced your first season, 2005 at BYU. You go to the NIT. I mean, and then it takes all of one more season before you're back in the NCAA tournament. Amazing. In the spring of 2007, you're recruiting Jimmer Fredette at that point as well. And it's BYU and Siena College that have offered Jimmer. But how, from your perspective, how were you able to coax the great Jimmer to BYU to be a part of the magical run that you had between 2008 and 2011?
Well, I'll tell you, there weren't too many higher priorities on my daily schedule than recruiting Jimmer for about 3 years there. I mean, we tried to do something every day to know that, he wanted us. And it was hard back then because we actually had rules, and you could ignore. You had to follow those rules. You only can contact the guy so many times, and you had to document it all and all those things. But we tried to have so much contact with them. And I went out to Glens Falls a few times and actually watched him play a football game. Only for high school football game, Spencer. You'll like this. The only high school football game ever that I ever watched. It rained the entire game. Okay, rained the entire game. And there was one guy on the field at the end of the game. They won the game. Glens Falls was, better and had a great game. But there was one guy on the field whose uniform was still white, and it was Jimmer's. Because he never got tackled. He never ended up on the. He played the cleanest football game I ever saw in the rain.
That is amazing stuff. Yeah, I wasn't getting tackled. I wasn't getting tackled back then, Spence. It told you, man. I was first team All State, man. I never got tackled.
Nope. Nobody was coming close to you. And if they did, you went right out of bounds.
Yes, I did. Great.
That's fantastic.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember that, coach. That was such great times. You coming back to Glens Falls, eating at Angelina's Pizzeria. Shout out to Angelina's and Jeff and Greg Onschmidt and all the guys. I do have a question for you though, coach. Like, what was your first impression when you first kind of saw me? And what was that like, and why was it that you felt like, hey, this is the guy. This is the guy that I really wanted to go after? Because obviously I wasn't in the area. I was upstate New York. It's not a general spot that you guys would go and recruit. I was able to go to a BYU basketball camp and you saw me there. But then ever since then, you kind of just were able to, follow me around and watch the games. But what drew you specifically to me?
Well, I mean, I still remember this. I mean, there's a lot of things that I forgot, especially since I've had some medical issues. But this I have. I mean, I'll remember this forever. That in the Smith Field House, we're having a BYU basketball camp, and you're in the camp, and I have a couple of high school coaches after the morning session say, "Man, we got a kid out here from New York that." He just finished his freshman year, and he's really can really shoot it. And I said, all right, thanks. I'll come see him. And we come watch you play at night, in the night games. And then we have games all week long where we had a game in the morning, afternoon, and the evening. So anyways, I come that night and I watch you play, and you did not miss a shot, okay, in the game, and it was hard. It was hard to score 3 pointers on those side baskets at that time because it wasn't painted on the floor because we just played on like volleyball courts, But they were all deep. They were all deep shots, and it was you shot well enough in the evening session that I was there again in the morning session, okay, to watch you play again. Right? And I'm not kidding you. I bet I went the first 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, where I watched all your drills, I mean, just everything that was happening. And I was just so impressed with your ability to score the ball. And then how quick your release was. I was just so this guy, I mean, he could score baskets with our guys right now. And I think I actually invited you to come play with our guys
You
and to
did.
kind of
Yeah.
scrimmage with our team. And one thing about those camps, if you can get the players on campus and come to your camp, there's a lot of things you can do in the rules when they're there in that period when they're on campus. And that was a real benefit and it was good for us. And uh but that was I think that's the first memory that I have of you was just your ability at ease to score baskets and make baskets. And I that was maybe to a fault of mine, that making baskets was really important to me as far as the players. I mean, we probably at times could have been, a better defensive team and maybe a little bit more athletic, but I wanted kids who could score, and I think that is kind of indicative. You end up being the leading scorer in the history of BYU basketball. And then a couple of years later, we have another player, Tyler Hawes, who breaks your record. And so the one thing that I mean, they say a lot of things about us and our staff and what we did at BYU, but we could score. We scored a lot of points, and I think you
Absolutely.
started the whole thing for us.
Coach, getting to the NCAA tournament was paramount, and you did it as an assistant with Steve Cleveland. So you got to taste that in 2001, 2003, 2004. And then I mentioned earlier, you took BYU as a head coach to the tournament in 07, 08, and 09, but couldn't get out of the first round. And then it was this thing of like, oh man, can BYU win a tournament game? They're getting there, but can they win one? It had been 17 years since you had done it when you got back again in 2010, but you had Jimmer, and you win an epic extra session game against Florida. What was that breakthrough like when you saw Jimmer do that and push BYU finally over the hump in the NCAA tournament?
Well, I mean, obviously, it was one of the happiest days of that I can remember, as far as my basketball career was concerned, because you talk about 3 long, disappointing end of seasons. It was those first 3 times we got to the tournament and we didn't get a win. And I remember LaBelle Edwards wrote me a letter after each one of those seasons and tried to cheer me up a little bit, and tell me what a great job we were doing. And I mean, he obviously knew I felt like I'm just terrible because the letter was like going to a pep rally, all the great things that I'd done. And he told me about his experience in bowl games and all these things, but there was nothing that was going to cheer me up until we won a game in the tournament, because that's what getting there was fun, but we wanted to win and be successful, and so we played Florida. Um, I mean, just the fact that when we matched up with them, I knew that it was going to be really really tough, and we ended up getting the win. And um, Steve, no, well, let's see, Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan was the coach, okay, and Billy had heard after we won the game and we had the press conference, okay, and we do the deal, and everybody, the NCAA controls your life, when you get in those rooms, and they tell you to go here, sit here, stand there, don't talk so long, you know. So, but anyways, we get done, and I'm relieved, and everybody's walking out, and Billy came up to me and he says, "Man, I didn't realize that," because the story had been told over and over by the media asking questions. They don't just ask this question like, "Hey, coach, how was the game?" It was, "Hey, coach, you lost to this guy, then you lost to these guys, and then you lost to these guys, and you finally won a game." Anyways, so Billy Donovan just stopped me. He said, "Man, coach, I'm really, really happy for you. I'm really sad that our team just got beat and I'm out of the tournament, but I'm really, really happy for you because, um, and he'd won a couple of national championships, and he'd been through it and done his thing. But I was really impressed with how he treated me as a first time, NCAA winning coach, and that was pretty fun, pretty memorable experience.
I remember going back into that locker room and just being so excited. I was like, everyone was just pumped, and every time we won a game, just so you all know, coach would sprint into that locker room as loud as he could. He'd get his hands up, we'd all jump around, and we'd be going around. We'd lift him up sometimes, like we had a blast. But he came in with that energy every single time we won a game. No matter how much he still, was mad at us, even if we did win a game and we didn't play well, he came in with that energy and had a great experience, and that was such a memorable moment. And then coach, after that, obviously that took us into a momentum into that 2011 season. And that's when we really started to have some expectations of like, okay, these guys are pretty good. These guys are here, came back to school to play, and we had an incredible season. What do you remember most about that 2011 season?
Wow, when you say the most, it's there was a lot, and it
There
and
was a
it
lot.
it was a lot, and what it starts with this, Jimmer, and you probably remember. Well, you do. I'm sure you remember. But when you came in my office, told me you wanted to put your name in the NBA draft, and you wanted test the waters and see what everybody thought of you, and then when
Yep.
you came back after that was all over, and I did not know what you were going to do, because
Yep.
you were projected. A lot of teams had said they'd draft you late in the first round. A lot of teams said that guaranteed that they'd draft you, first part of the later part of the first round or first part of the second round, and I just I don't know how you turn that down. I mean, I wasn't going to tell him that, but because I obviously wanted Jimmer to come back for his senior year, and so in that conversation, when he told me that he's committed to coming back to BYU for a year, and I was a happy guy, and I don't really remember what I told you after that, Jimmer, because I was just flying high, and I hope I didn't lie to you. I hope I told you all truths, okay? Because uh,
I
but
think you
but
did,
but we
coach.
but we made a pretty good deal between the two of us of how we wanted his senior year to go, and he made a commitment to me that was very similar to the commitment he made after his freshman year when he was in my office, and he said, "Coach, you do not need to recruit a point guard because I'm your point guard for the next 3 years." I mean, I remember that, and he was way more confident in that at that time than I was at that time. Yeah. I knew he was gonna be good, and I knew he was gonna be a really good player for us, but, my goodness, he came back and he was the starting point guard at BYU for 3 seasons, and that's exactly what he said he was gonna do. So that's how it started, Jimmy. That's what I remember is when it started and you came back and how relieved we were that we were gonna, have that cornerstone. And obviously Jackson Emery was such a baller, and Charles was a guy who, I mean, he just wanted good to happen to everybody. I mean, and so you knew that he was going to be a huge piece. And then we got, Brandon Davies, a young guy with unbelievable talent. And I mean, and then, all the role guys and James Anderson and Logan Magnuson. And I mean, it's just amazing how that team fit together. And I mean, I could go on forever talking about things that have nothing to do with basketball that made our team good. I mean, Jimmer was, I mean, I coached a lot of great basketball players with great leadership skills and unbelievable talent. Jimmer had the way with people. I mean, I can remember from uh, like a November to a February time period, his senior year, and the amount of times that we eat together as a team, and we're on the bus together, and we're traveling on the plane together, and we're going in airports, and Jimmer was the best at including everyone on the team. He didn't just have one buddy that he just, and he and Jackson were tight. I mean, they were really tight, but he was always with one of the teammates, was one of his teammates. And I think that's what made our team so close. I think that's one of the real reasons why we were able to handle the adversity that we had late in the year, and with Rosenbrand and or with that Jimmer had a relationship with every player on that team, and that I really thought that was special to watch and to actually try to motivate some of the rest of my guys later on with different teams to do the same because that was one of your real special gifts, Jimmer.
Well, that means a lot, coach. I absolutely appreciate that. And that comes from my parents, right? You know, my parents, they're just good people that want everyone to be included. You be kind to everyone no matter what. You want to make sure you cultivate those relationships and be there. And I genuinely loved my teammates. Like I just did. We didn't have a bad guy in that locker room. And that goes to be said, with your recruiting of the type of caliber of person you're bringing into the room. And we generally really really loved each other and had such a great experience. Let's tell listeners a little bit what it was like to go on the road and play during that 2011 season, because it was pretty insane most of the time when we were on the road.
I mean, it was for as far as BYU is concerned, BYU fans, it was insane from the very beginning. Okay, from the start of the season. But in order to get the rest of the country involved, I think it took the uh, the Utah game. I found out a lot of this later when we went on the tour to go collect all of his hardware at the end of the season. I had people tell me story after story of what went on in their hometown and how Jimmermania was all over the country. But I mean, it started with BYU fans when remember when we went back to Glens Falls and played the game in Glens
Oh yeah.
Falls. Then we went back to uh, what's that? Buffalo's a Buffalo. Where
Buffalo.
did we
We
go?
went to play
Yeah,
Buffalo. Yeah,
we
we
went to
went and
play
played at
went to
Buffalo.
play in Buff because I tried to get a
Yep.
game as close to Glens Falls as I could, and it was
Yep.
Buffalo, which was about 3 hours, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little
Yeah,
ways.
3 hour drive. But then I ended up hooking up a deal with the coach from Vermont, and we got Vermont to come to Glens Falls, and we came from Provo, and we played in the hockey arena in Glens Falls. And
Yep.
you would think that it was a BYU home game because they're all there to see Jimmer, and we had people at the bar wearing BYU gear, drinking beer, cheering for Jimmer. I mean, it was something special, wasn't it? That was
It was
a really
amazing.
a
One of
great
my
game.
one of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was incredible. You pulled that off.
But once
So,
once that Utah game hit, because the national championship game was on Monday, national championship football
right.
game was on a Monday
Right.
night, and we played Utah on a Tuesday night. And playing at Utah is tough. I mean, it's really tough, and you want one more point than they do when you walk out of there. And this night, it went our way from the tip, and Jimmer was unbelievable. And she hit a shot at from half court to go into the locker room. I think everybody's seen it 100 times, and um, but living it and seeing it now, living it was a lot better. I can tell you that it was that was a great night. But after that night, then it was Sports Center, and then it was CBS Sports, and then I mean, it was every after every game, it was a big story on a national stage, and I mean, he had so many games. He had a game at TCU that was tremendous. It took us 2 hours to play the game and 2.5 hours to get back to the bus. I mean, it was It wasn't, but that's the truth because this guy, all he would do was he didn't want to tell anyone no. So finally, we had to trick him. We had to say, "Oh no, there's nobody in the lobby waiting for you, Jimmer. But we're going to go in the back door of the hotel anyways, okay? Just because we think that's the best way to get in the hotel." But it was Jimmermania for sure, and it happened. For that whole season. I mean, we ended up going 14-2. We had a terrible loss late that was really tough on us all, but that was every one of those games was Jimmermania to one extent or another. And what was to me what I still remember is how the rest of our guys loved it. Except that
Yeah.
except that night at TCU. Say, "Coach,
Yep.
we have to go.
We gotta go.
We have to go. This is going on too long." You remember that, don't you? You remember that.
I absolutely do. There was thousands of people
House.
outside waiting, and
Yeah.
I was just there. I was there forever, just taking pictures and autographs. And at that time, I loved it because I had gone through it a ton, right? Like all of a sudden, it happened overnight, and this was just kind of the norm going forward. But it was we played at TCU. It was 80%. It was full stadium, but
Full
80% of
stadium.
the people were BYU fans. It was a home
I
game
had
for us.
I
It
had
was
people
wild.
just I'm all obviously standing on the side waiting for Jimmer after the TCU game, and I had people come up to me, TCU fans, and say, I haven't seen the arena this full since 1982 when Jim Killingsworth was our coach, and we won the Southwest Conference. And anyways, it was quite an experience. But what I'm telling you right now, Spencer, is that that's one story. We got 100 stories that are just like that everywhere we
Yeah.
went. I mean, it was quite a. There's going to be a movie about the Hoosiers winning the national championship. We've only heard that enough times in the last couple of days when they won the national championship. But this our deal was every bit of the Hoosier deal.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. It was wild to say the least. And again, you and Jimmer helped BYU break boundaries. Like you won the first NCAA tournament game in 17 years in 2010, and then Jimmermania takes you into the tournament as a number 3 seed, which tied for the best in BYU program history. You win the first game, you get to a showdown with Gonzaga, and you know that, man, BYU hasn't been to the Sweet 16 in 30 years. So what were you feeling, Coach, when you went into that game against Gonzaga knowing what was on the line?
I was pretty nervous.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit nervous. I mean, just so happy and relieved that we had beat Wofford in the first round because that was a tough game. I mean, all those NCAA tournament games. I mean, it's when they say survive in advance, that's the truth. That's what it is, it and the fact that we had won that game, and then I think it was St. John's was the higher seed, and I think it was maybe they were 8-9, and and Gonzaga had won, had beat them, and the interesting thing is we had no history with Gonzaga at that point. I mean, you say Gonzaga now, and everybody thinks of you know that was 15 years or so when Gonzaga was our kind of our nemesis every year, but we had no history with them. But um, we just, got in the game, and they had all the players with all the tournament experience, and we had a few players with a little tournament experience, but they had one, we hadn't won. And what I do remember, we're in Denver, okay, and my family is all there, and they want to have a birthday party for one of my granddaughters. And of all the things that I was really, really excited about going into that game, a birthday party wasn't on the list very high. Mm, there. And and now it's Annie, and Annie now is swimming at BYU. So I think we made her a cougar, years and years ago. But it's funny how all those family things that you did, um, during those kind of stressful times of the basketball season, they're more memories than they are actual lived experiences because I was so dialed into trying to figure out ways that we were going to win that game with Gonzaga. But we go into the game and we end up winning the game. And I can tell you I've been pretty happy in my life at a lot of different times, a lot of different occasions. But that was pure joy. I mean, so somewhere between relief and happiness and joy, that it's all in there. But relief is a big part of that too, because we I think that in my coaching career, I didn't want to let people down, and if I could go back and coach again, I think I would get rid of that part of my DNA. Go ahead,
Yeah.
let everybody down. Because I spent so much time worrying about that. But when you're a 3 seed, you got to get to the Sweet 16. I mean, that's what everyone's expecting you to do. And so when we did that, that was a lot of relief for me, anyways.
Yeah, it was relief for me too. I mean, there's joy, there's relief, there's, you're hopeful. Obviously we had a difficult time going into the NCAA tournament with kind of what happened with Brandon, but people didn't think that we were going to probably beat Gonzaga at that point. We kind of just pulled together and did what we needed to do, and it was really incredible the way we were able to band together and be able to make that run no matter what. It was just it was destiny, and almost had it in that next game against Florida, but we it was just an incredible time, absolutely incredible time. And as we go, Coach, we'll wrap up here in a few minutes. But as you continued through your coaching career, obviously during most of that battle at BYU, you were going through, a difficult situation with the health with your cancer, and obviously you're still continuing to battle with that today. I just wanted to hear from you what that has been like and what that has taught you in your life about perseverance and about pushing through and about enjoying the moments that you have in your life, because just to be clear, you're one of the strongest people that I know. Like, you just have persevered, you've continued to battle, you've taught me to be able to do that in my life, you taught all of your players to be able to do that in your life. It's a really incredible thing, and I would love to hear your perspective on that and perseverance.
Well, I've been asked that a lot, and I don't really have a very good you know explanation or answer because as crazy as this sounds, I feel the diagnosis was tough, and the fact that I finally got to be a Division I basketball coach after all these years and coaching high school and coaching junior college, and I end up getting a chance, and then 3 or 4 years into it, you know, I've got cancer, and maybe might not be able to finish it out, and so that was tough. But when I got a diagnosis that was a little bit you know positive in a way that maybe I'd be able to, to coach a little bit. But I ended up coaching 10 more years, and so for me, John, I feel more grateful than I do disappointed or cursed or I was dealt a bad hand. I mean, there's so many people who have contacted me over the years. It'll be 16 years in June, and um, the fact that I ended up with a really rare form of pancreatic cancer and allowed me to have, you know, what, what they said would be, around 12, 13 years, and I'm going on 16. So I've outkicked my coverage here a little bit, and I'm really, really happy for that. But I think probably the way that my family has rallied around me and supported me and has helped me, especially my wife. I mean, Cheryl has been to every doctor appointment, every procedure, every surgery, and she's the first one there, and she bosses the nurses around and said, "No, I got this," and because she's got way more experience taking care of me than somebody coming in on their next shift, and so I'm just a really lucky guy. Not that lucky that I got cancer, but really lucky how our family and my support team has responded to it. And I I just I had a scan a couple weeks ago, and they told me that I got some issues and I got to do some things, but come back in May. And so there's another 4 months, 5 months that I'm going to try and have a good time. Hopefully, BYU wins a national championship in that period because I don't want to go until I see that happen. That's what I'm looking for. At least get to the Final Four, boys. And so I think that I know it is so painful for so many people because it hasn't worked out for them and their loved ones. But for me, I am just grateful that I have I've got a few more months, and we'll take it from there and see what happens a few more months from now, and then we'll go from there. And it's really interesting living your life that way because it's really hard to get mad at people for a long period of time. You can get mad for a really short period of time, but a long period of time. Uh, and because you just really you appreciate every day and the good things that are going to happen and the good things that have happened. And so I really don't. I just can say, thanks to everybody who has supported me. I mean, BYU Nation, I mean, Cougar Nation has been just unbelievable with their support and their encouragement over the years. And, there's so many people that are pulling for me and us. And I hope it continues to keep going good.
Coach, I know you joked earlier about the narrative of your life finishing second and being so close, but I mean, I genuinely mean that you are champion and first place to all of us. Like I mean that with from the bottom of my heart. Like you are the ultimate champion, and you've persevered and you've overcome so much, and multiple bouts with cancer and stroke, heart attack, and you've scared us to death multiple times, but you just keep bouncing back. And I'm so glad that you're going to be there for Jimmer's jersey retirement when his number 32 is hung in the rafters of the Marriott Center. I just think it's such a beautiful moment, and so glad that I could play a very small part in your Hall of Fame induction into BYU. And I mean, as great of a coach and mentor as you are, you're an even better friend, and we love you, and we're so glad to talk with you.
Well, thanks, Spencer. I appreciate that. And I love following BYU sports, and a lot of it is because of BYU, but a lot of it's because of you and Jerem. I mean, you two are awesome, and the way that I can just tell the love that you have for those kids, those athletes. I mean, you want them all to succeed and win every game. And as a coach, when I was there, it was really good knowing that I could send my players over to that broadcast building, and they would be treated really well because you guys love those kids, and I really appreciated that.
And just let me, the one thing, Coach, that I'll say, tell Spence to stop calling me Jerem every once in a while. I'm like, come on, man, you got to remember, we're not on BYU Sports Nation right now. That's the one thing. Other than that, I love both of them, and they're doing
It's
great.
happened
So
one time.
I
Give it,
will tell you
Spence.
this though, hey, the one thing you were gone for 10 or 12 years, when you were off in the NBA and over in China. These two
Yep.
guys, I don't know anybody who spends more time together than this guy and that guy. I mean,
Oh,
they
there you
are
go.
everywhere. I mean, when we go to the West Coast Conference tournament, those guys would sleep up there on the balcony in the Orleans, because they had a show at night and they had a show at 6 in the morning. I mean, it was unbelievable. But we're like BYU fans are really lucky because they've got two guys that not only really know the sports world and what it takes to the relationships that it brings, but they love BYU, and that's good for Cougar fans, that's for sure.
Coach, needless to say, it's been a pleasure to talk with you here on From the Logo and to do this on Jimmer's podcast. We're looking forward to seeing you in the Marriott Center on Valentine's Day. A lot of love to go around, and it's going to be an epic jersey retirement. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks a lot, Spencer. Thanks, Jimmer. Tell Whitney hello for me.
I absolutely will. Absolutely will.
The great Dave Rose. We're going to call a timeout. When we return, Jimmer and I take on our listener questions in open gym. This is From the Logo.
If you or your business are looking to reach a wide audience, From the Logo with Jimmer Fredette will help you reach your goals. Whether you're interested in title sponsorship, segment sponsorship, or product placement on the podcast, email us at jimmerftl@gmail.com and let us help you shoot your shot.
From the Logo rolls on, and we now open up things to our listeners and viewers. Your submitted questions and comments from social media straight to us. Jimmer, start us off. This one from TikTok.
Yeah, we got some TikTok going. It's been great. It's from our comment coming from our last podcast featuring, ESPN and former UCLA standout Sean Farnham, who was great on the pod. Go check that out. By Eagle Eggs. What a great name right there. But he said, I played basketball against this guy in 1995. De La Salle versus Liberty. Laugh out loud. I've commented afterwards and said, hey, you need to give us some more detail on this, right? Like, you can't just say you played against Sean Farnham.
What was it like?
Not give a score, not tell about did you guard him? Like, what was he like? Did he crush it? Did he have a bad game? We need you to follow up, Eagle Eggs. Okay, come back with a little bit more context here so that we can get into this, because I need to know how Sean Farnham was back in high school, because he was talking himself up, and I'm excited to hear about it.
He probably didn't want to say anything because Sean dropped 25 on him, but whatever.
He probably did. Probably did.
Reading between the lines.
That's right.
Next comment comes from our Instagram feed, Jimmer. Our post involving a potential NCAA violation with Jamal Williams and the brown sugar Pop-Tarts that he was gifted by a student when he was at BYU. Pop-Tarts US, their main account, responded and said, ever heard of a nice gesture? That's what I'm saying. Just don't get acts of kindness to ruin or be ruined by this violation crap. Come on. It's a Pop-Tarts kindness gesture.
I get it. It's a pop. I was half joking when that came up, but everyone was mad at me. Everyone was just talking about how upset they were that I said that. I mean, all the comments are just like, you need to shut up. We're going to get in trouble. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? I was making a joke. Pop-Tarts, I'm sorry. I know it was a very nice gesture. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much for commenting on our post. We will never do that again. But if you want to sponsor the pod, please do. I love Pop-Tarts. Let's go. Get us a sponsorship. We'll eat them on air. That'll be great.
Yes. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll push pause on this. Final comment from YouTube, specifically on Jimmer's jersey retirement announcement that will be here very shortly. At Quint Whipple-B91 says, so deserving. I went to watch BYU beat Gonzaga in Denver. What a game. What a player and all-around incredible guy. 32 has always been my number. Malone for Karl Malone, then Jimmer. I've worn it all my life in sports. How about that?
That is so good. I mean, I love hearing stuff like that from the fans. When people say that they wore their number because of me, or they set Jimmer as they shot a shot, whatever it is, like, I appreciate that. It makes things worth it for sure. You look back and say, hey, I actually had an impact on some people, the very few people out there probably that wore number 32 because of me, but I do appreciate that, and it's always great to hear from the fans and the support that still continues, so I appreciate that, my man Quint Whipple.
Absolutely. Jimmer, I did get a request from a few people for another grammar pet peeve discussion. We're going to pause on it this week because I need to compile my list of the next one that is most deserving of being brought up. So if you'd like to, if all of you would like to submit some ideas to me about pet peeves you have with the misuse of words or grammar, I'd be happy to take those on. I am compiling the list. It will return next week. You have my promise. I have one in mind that I'm going to go heavy after, and then the list only gets longer. So how's that for a teaser?
That's phenomenal. I can't wait for this segment. This is, I mean, I'm going to learn a lot because, like I said, I don't know anything about grammar, so I'm excited.
Let's go. Again, if you'd like to submit questions or comments to me, Jimmer, or our guests, you can follow us on all of our social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and X at JimmerFTL. And that'll take us to our next break. The 3x3 update is next, and it is inspired by a question from one of you when From the Logo continues.
If you or your business are looking to reach a wide audience, From the Logo with Jimmer Fredette will help you reach your goals. Whether you're interested in title sponsorship, segment sponsorship, or product placement on the podcast, email us at jimmerftl@gmail.com and let us help you shoot your shot.
From the Logo moves into the final quarter. It's time for our USA Basketball 3x3 update presented by Wilner and O'Reilly. Just call Kelly at Wilner and O'Reilly, an immigration law expert and friend of the show, WilnerO'Reilly.com. Hooked us up with the sweet hat back here, Jimmer.
Sure
Okay?
did.
Let's
Got
go.
mine in the back, too.
Rocking it.
Absolutely.
Let's go. GM Jimmer's got the latest on the drive to gold in 2028 from his 3x3 teams across the globe. Jimmer, this 3x3 segment is inspired by a comment from YouTube, so I'm going to read it and then let you go. Sound all right?
Let's do it.
At RW Burrell on YouTube says, dumb 3x3 question, can the roster be changed pre-Olympics? Could the best NBA players from the United States that didn't quite make Team USA become US 3x3 Olympic team? Would they even be good at 3x3? And then in parentheses says, and I understand this might be frustrating or discouraging to your current players, end parenthesis, and end quote. Jimmer, where would you like to go with that question?
Well, first of all, they would be good, right? NBA players would be good at 3x3 basketball. It's a little bit different, obviously, but it would take a little bit of time for them to acclimate to the speed and the difference of the sport, but they'd be very good at it just because they're great basketball players. It would just take a little bit of a learning curve for them to get there. We can't take NBA players at this point. The reason being is because the NBA and FIBA are competing leagues, and the NBA does not let their players play in competing leagues. So therefore, I can't get NBA players eligible to play in the Olympics because you have to play at least 2 FIBA sanctioned events to be able to be eligible to play in international competitions like the World Cup or the Olympics. So because of that, we are not able to have NBA basketball players get eligible for the Olympics. Until that changes, it's not going to happen. But they would obviously be very, very good. And if we had them at our disposal, that would obviously we'd look at that. I love our group of guys that we have. And I love the fact that the 3x3 game makes it so that these guys have to play professionally, basically to play and represent their country. Because they are doing it professionally. They're doing it as a sport, just like all of these other Olympic sports are doing it. The swimmers, gymnasts, whoever it is, they're all doing that professionally, and then they are able to go and play and compete for the Olympics. So I love that they have that rule in there right now for our team, because then we get to go find players that are not NBA players but are great professional basketball players that get to do something that they love and represent their country. So I think it's awesome. The roster can be changed before the Olympics, of course, but they have to be eligible. And you want to make sure that you have a group of guys that are playing together enough that once they get to the Olympics, it's not foreign for them. They've been through some battles. They know how to play 3x3 and they know how to play with each other, because once they get into that high intensity situation, you understand how to play with each other, how to talk to each other. If you lose a game, it's okay. How do we regroup and get back onto it? How do we see each other on the court if there's a back door, or who's guarding who's taking the last shot, who's sitting out, during the last part of the game? All those things need to be kind of dealt with before you get to the Olympics. So that's going to take a team that's been together for 6 months to a year to be able to get that out. So I don't want to change the roster before the Olympics, like right before. You want to have a group of guys that have played together for a while so that they understand the game, understand each other, and go out and win a gold medal. So great questions. I appreciate those questions, things that we will need to talk about and continue to talk about. And if anyone has any other 3x3 questions, send them my way because we'll do them on the segment. So we appreciate it.
That is your 3x3 updates. And I echo what Jimmer says. If you have more questions about it, send them in. Because we're getting that much closer to the Olympics and when decisions are going to be really tough for your roster or whatnot. Jimmer, great stuff. Great to talk to Coach Rose. My goodness. So insightful. Emotions run deep there, no doubt about it.
He was incredible. I love Coach Rose as a human being, as a coach, just his whole family. I'm so glad to have him on the pod, right? And obviously he's one of those guys that you just love to talk to. He's great at storytelling. He has lost some of his memory of some of the stuff that has happened, and he still has stories for days. And he's just a joy to be around. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thanks for continuing to support the pod.
Well said. That'll wrap up another edition of From the Logo. A reminder to all of you, one, we love you and we love the support that you're giving to us, but keep shooting your shot in life. We'll see you next time.